everyone, this is Autumn with P&B Memory Creations, and bear with me, this is my first process video, and I will be making shaker tags. So that is a Sizzix tag die, and I use my die cutting machine to cut out 6 of those tags, because I will be making 3 shaker tags. And so I'm just going to set 3 of those aside. And then I'm going to grab my Versamark ink and a Hero Arts Waves stencil, because I would like some waves on my tag, or tags I should say. And I'm just using some Post-it notes to keep that stencil in place. And so I'm using a little sponge to dab in the Versamark, and then I'm going to dab it onto the tag. And I'm just making sure I have really good coverage. And once I'm done, I'm going to take the Post-it notes off. And then I'm going to add some white embossing powder. That's Recollections powder. And I think it's called Snow. And so I put the embossing powder and heat embossed it on all 3 tags. And now I'm going to grab some Distress inks so I can ink up my tags. So the Distress inks I'm going to be using are Mermaid Lagoon, and then Peacock Feathers, and then Faded Jeans. And because I embossed it, it's going to add resistance to the tag, so when I'm inking it up, you'll be able to see the stencil, or the stenciling, I should say. And the order that I put the inks down are Faded Jeans, and then Mermaid Lagoon, and then Peacock Feathers at the top. And so I'm just making sure it has really good coverage. I use Bristol cardstock because I know Distress inks blend really nicely on that paper. And so that was tag number 1, and I'm going to do the same with the other 2 tags. And I sped this up for you guys so you didn't have to sit around and watch it in real time. And I'm just inking it up. I enjoy the way Distress inks blend on Bristol cardstock. It's so nice. It makes blending so easy. And so that is tag number 2. Well, that's tag number 3 now, but before that, that was tag number 2. And so I'm just adding some peacock feathers right at the top. And then almost done. Just have one more tag to do and then I'll be done. There we go. And so that is a Lawn Fawn dotted rectangle stackable die. And that is the smallest die out of the collection. I'm just using some Post-it tape to stick it on my tag so I can cut out a little window in order to make the shaker part of the tag. And so that's cut out. And I'm just showing you guys how it's going to be assembled. So that white tag will be the bottom part of the shaker, and then the colored parts will go on top. And so right now I'm using some Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm stamping out some stamps from Lawn Fawn's Mermaid for You. And in a little bit you'll see that I'm going to stamp out some coral and some seaweed from Lawn Fawn's Fantastic Friends. There we go. And then I stamped it onto some Spectrum Noir paper because I'm going to be using my Spectrum Noir markers in order to color the stamps. And see, now everything is nice and colored and die cut out. So now I'm using the negative space of that colored tag in order to be able to line up my panel and place it on the bottom part of that shaker tag. So I just hold it down and I line it up and I set that panel in there, and then I remove the negative space, and there we go. It is all lined up. And so now that I've done that with all 3 of the tags, I'm just going to add some score tape to the back of the colored part of that tag. That way I can add the acetate window that's going to be part of the shaker. And I like score tape. I find it to be a really strong tape, so I'll be using it quite often. And so now I'm just going to rub the tape with my bone folder to make sure it's nice and stuck down. And then I'm going to use my little paper piercer in order to pull up the backing on the score tape, but you'll see in a little bit I accidentally ripped some of the paper while doing that, so I just add some more score tape, so it's all right. All right, here we go. And you see, whoopsie, ripped it. But that is a-okay. I just take some of the ripped part off, and then I'll be adding some more score tape, and then it will be good to go. And I'm so sorry, you guys, for being off center. I'm still getting used to my camera setup, so just bear with me. I'm doing my best, but it'll take some time, and things will improve. Alright, so just taking the backing off of that score tape, and then I'll lay my acetate piece on there. And you see those markings on the acetate sheet? That's just where I used those markings to cut the sheet down to the size that I needed, but you can't see it when you turn the tag portion over. Alright, so I did that with all 3 of those tags, and now I'm just using some foam tape to line that panel. That way I have a place to put my sequins. And I cut down that foam tape. It was too wide and I didn't need it to be that wide. So I just cut it down into little strips. And as you can see, I'm just making an area, and then my sequins will fit inside of that rectangular area. There we go. I'm just adding a little extra support for the top of the tag. And now I'm going to use my anti-static powder tool and run it along the inside of that foam tape. That way the sequins don't stick to the side of the foam tape. And it'll also help the sequins move around freely in that little shaker tag. And now that I think about it, I probably should have doubled up the foam tape just so the sequins could move even more freely, but it still turned out really well. And so here are those sequins. I do not remember what brand they are, and I do not remember where I got them from, but they are really pretty sequins, and they remind me of like a mermaid's tail or like fish scales, so I added them because they're really pretty. And so I took off the backing of the foam tape and I'm just aligning the top portion of the shaker onto the bottom portion of the shaker tag. And you'll see that I didn't quite align it right, so I'm going to pull it up and then align it correctly. There we go, and you can see it shaking around sort of in there. So I did that with all 3 of the tags. And now I am just fussing around and deciding where I want to put the coral and the seaweed and the mermaid and all the other elements. And so I'm just using some wet adhesives in order to attach the mermaid and all the other elements to the shaker tag. And that little piece of coral right there came from Lawn Fawn's Mermaid for You set. And I used the Hero Arts Ombre ink, the pink to red one, to color that piece of coral. And then that piece of seaweed also came from the Mermaid for You set, and I used Hero Arts Ombre inks as well. I used the Lime to Forever Green one. So I'm just adjusting that piece of coral so I can tuck that piece of seaweed behind there. And then what is an ocean without a school of fish? So I have to include some fish in there. There we go. And then that is tag number 1. And here's tag number 2. And I had to include an Ariel looking mermaid just because I love Disney. So if I ever do any more mermaids, probably one of them is going to end up looking like Ariel. So I'm just gluing down some coral. And then I think I add a little seashell next to the piece of coral. Yep, there we go, little seashell. And then I think I considered putting some seaweed there, but decided against it. But I do put a little seahorse there, and then there'll be another school of fish on top of that shaker tag. There we go, tag number 2. And then the last tag, I absolutely love this mermaid. She reminds me of Aquaman, just with the blonde hair and the orange top and the green bottom. She is so cute. I love it. So with her, she'll get some coral and some seaweed and a school of fish. I think I also include a little starfish next to the seaweed as well. Yep, little starfish. And there is shaker tag number 3. So thanks for watching, you guys. If you like the video, please hit that like button and comment below. And also don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.